Welcome to my film review of It Chapter 2. Now this is the 2019 new version of It that's just been released at the cinema. This is the second review that I've actually done on this movie. The first review I did straight after seeing the movie. It lasted 20 minutes. I enjoyed it so much I couldn't stop talking about it, so I wanted to do a short, snappy review, which is exactly what this is going to be, summarising the key reasons why this movie was awesome and why I gave it a 10 out of 10. This is my first 10 out of 10 movie. I gave Spider-Man 9.5 out of 10. I was that excited about a new post-Endgame Marvel movie coming out that, I wanted to give it a 10 out of 10, but I didn't. However, this has got a 10 out of 10. It's that good. Now, just to clarify, horror is my favourite genre, but I don't scare easy because of all the stuff that I watched as a kid, like Freddy Krueger and Exorcist and all that kind of stuff. Watched it far too young. However, I still really enjoy horrors. I just struggle to get one that really creeps me out unless it's like an Exorcist type movie to do with demons and stuff. This worked. It worked so well. I am so pleased. Now, just to set the expectations where I was at, I was highly anticipating this being a brilliant movie. I loved the original It movies. I travelled over an hour to watch the double bill version on my nearest IMAX, which is well over an hour away. Okay, but I love this movie so much. I was so excited about it. That's what I did. I definitely recommend watching it on IMAX rather than 4DX, which is the upgraded seats I would normally go to. Dolby Atmos would also be a brilliant experience for this, but definitely recommend sitting close to any screen and having it in your face. It really worked really well. So let's get into the review. Why am I giving this movie 10 out of 10? Well, normally when your expectations for a movie are really high, you end up disappointed. And this is like the first time in my life it actually surpassed my expectations. I was hoping for an 8 out of 10, maybe an 8.5 out of 10, and I cannot criticise a single thing about this movie. It worked on so many levels. So as a huge fan of the original movies, sometimes a remake scares you. We're in remake city right now. We've had Aladdin, Lion King, all these original brilliant movies that we loved when we were younger being remade, and you're like, ooh, it could be brilliant, but it could be a disaster. I've been a bit hit and miss with most of the remakes. However, this was perfect. It sticks to the original story just enough so that you're like, yeah, that scene's still in it, but obviously slightly differently. That scene's still in it, yeah, that part of the story, I'm glad. All the bits that you really wanted to be in there are still in there. Big tick. But then they take it in a complete unique direction, and they change the story in whatever way suits the retelling, but it doesn't disappoint you as an original hardcore fan of the original movies. So it just works. It's just such a big tick in every sense in that regard. So the way that the story is told is brilliant. You've also got the casting to think about. The casting for the original seemed to work really well, and they've absolutely nailed it again. I particularly like Eddie, the young kid. He's also in Shazam. I just think he's hilarious. And for the adult cast, you'll see that they've got Malkovich in it. I mean, they've put a huge Hollywood star as one of the main characters. That worked perfectly well. But my favourite character was probably Richie, adult Richie. You know, Richie's the funny guy. Well, they've put a comedy actor who I really like in that role, and he is brilliant. Which leads me on to the comedy element of this movie. I was expecting this to be scary. I don't remember the original being funny. I don't even remember the original movies trying to be funny. I've never laughed so much, except for the movie Long Shot, which was literally hilarious. Probably the best comedy I've ever seen in the cinema. This is the best comedy I've ever seen. Now, don't let that put you off. Don't think, oh, they're not going down the scary route, they're going down the comedy route. They've blended both. It's like being on a roller coaster. You're scared, but you're enjoying yourself and you're laughing, you know? It's kind of that kind of awesome experience. It's brilliant. So there's plenty of laughter scenes in there, and it's not done in a cheesy way. It is just downright hilarious. But then we can blend and skip quickly between scary and comedy, and it works perfectly well. Normally you'd think, oh, this is a car crash. First you're trying to scare me, now you're trying to make me laugh. That doesn't work at all, but it just does. I mean, there are a lot of scary scenes in this where you've actually got a big smile on your face, and I think for me, I'm not smiling because it's cheesy. I'm smiling because, yes, this is actually freaking me out, you know? So I'm smiling. I'm like, yes, you're doing what you're supposed to do. As a horror, you are actually scaring me and giving me the creeps. I mean, I'm not the kind of person that goes home and, has nightmares thinking about you know, turn the lights off and all of a sudden you're freaked out seeing the horror movie. I'm not one of those people. I get that some people are, and I think that's awesome. I kind of wish I was. I don't scare that easy, but I do know when I'm freaked out and when I'm creeped out. And although this wasn't hide behind the hands scary, it was satisfying. It was hugely satisfying. You know, I'm either smiling or I am literally like, oh, you know, like that kind of thing. It was great. Just brilliant. There's a lot of new scenes in this, slightly new takes on how they presented the scary scenes from the original, and I love it. There's kind of characters in there that you can tell that they're trying to make them a little bit funny, but they're seriously freaky and scary at the same time. I don't know how they did it. I did not expect them to be able to blend comedy and scary like this, but my God, they have nailed it. It blew me away. This was a 3-hour movie, all but 10 minutes. Perfect. Well done. It's the perfect length. Never for a second did it feel boring, and it also didn't feel like, oh, you've skipped through too fast, I wanted more. It somehow just felt utterly, utterly perfect. The length of the movie, I can't give it enough of a thumbs up for how perfect it was. So, well done. Now, also in this movie, to begin with, we get into some scenes not involving the scary clown, and you realise that this movie's also touching on some hard-hitting subject matter such as bullying and discrimination in society. And although this isn't what you went into the movie for, particularly the society discrimination, it's nice to have that in there, you know, because it's kind of shockingly horrible, but it's good to see this kind of subject matter covered in society, because this kind of discrimination really does need to be a thing of the past. So I kind of enjoyed that, as horrific and disturbing as I found it. A little bit like the scenes from Blinded by the Lights with the neo-Nazi stuff going on. So I quite enjoyed that little added element of it. So it's funny and scary. It's an excellent cast, the adults and the kids. It gives you that nostalgia feeling for those who loved the original. You know, like me, maybe you haven't seen the original for a long time and you just thoroughly enjoyed seeing the story be retold, but in a slightly unique way. Brilliant nostalgia. Tick, tick, tick. Everybody loves a bit of nostalgia, especially when you start getting older. It followed the plot enough to give you the satisfaction, but not too much, so that it was just a duplicate. Really loved it. Excellent remake, as remakes go. Length was perfect. Do you need to watch chapter 1? I did, because I watched it in a back-to-back double bill, okay? So if you're going to watch this movie, why not watch the first one first if you can? I did that, and I've come away giving the movie a 10 out of 10. However, I don't think it's necessary, because it does enough of the flashbacks so that you know what's going on and to be reminded of stuff that you need to be reminded of. So go and see this movie. See it as soon as possible. See it on the bigger screen. Sit front. Don't sit right at the back of the screen. What's the point? You want the scary stuff to be in your face. Sit close. Go to an IMAX if you can. Definitely watch it on Dolby Atmos. I think that'd be great with the awesome surround sound feelings and everything. And wow, I just love this movie. 10 out of 10. Thank you. I can't wait to go and see it again. I just love this movie. Absolutely loved this movie. The first one I was originally like, I liked it, but it felt like an 8 out of 10. This is a 10 out of 10. Maybe I was just in a really good mood, but I love this movie. Let me know how you thought about it. I hope you loved it as much as me. I've been looking forward to this movie for so long. It's not very often horror comes around that I get this excited about, and it lived up to the expectations. Yes, well done. Thank you, Stephen King, for making me scared of clowns. Thanks for listening to the review. We'll see you on the next one. Let me know what you thought, and goodbye. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Egg boy!